Hi, welcome back. In this video I'm going to be continuing the build of Takom's 135 scale SMK Soviet heavy tank by adding a winter whitewash camouflage coat. So the first thing I did was give the model a fairly heavy coat of AK's Worn effects. And then once that first coat had dried, I gave it a second coat. On top of the Worn effects, I sprayed a thin coat of Tamiya XF2 flat white. I haven't put any snow camouflage on the lower half of the hull behind the wheels, for example. Most of that's going to be covered up when I make a diorama in the next video. It's going to be quite heavily muddied up, so that's clear at the moment. I also can imagine that the crews would camouflage behind tracks and behind wheels too much, if only for practical reasons. And then as soon as that coat was sprayed, I used a brush and a toothbrush dipped in water to try and scrape off, wear away the camouflage coat. At this point I wasn't really happy with the way the camouflage coat was coming off. It was coming off in fairly sort of big blobs without the fine chipping that I was looking for. So I applied another coat of the Worn effects over the top, this time a finer coat, and then sprayed again with the XF2 flat white, and then repeated the process again. For this second coat the effect was a bit better. You can see that it's wearing in a little bit of a more satisfying pattern, but it still wasn't really what I was looking for. So I decided to go back to the old hairspray technique. I gave the whole thing a good coat of hairspray, let it dry for a minute or two, and then gave it a coat of the camouflage white mix. And this time, as soon as I started to try to remove it, the paint came off much better, gave me a much better look to the camouflage. I'm not sure what it is that I did with the Worn effects the first two times. I've actually used it successfully before, so I'm sure it was user error. And then basically I tried to remove the camouflage paint on sort of common areas that might be worn away, on top of toolboxes, on the edges, around hatches and so on. And then once the camouflage paint was worn as I wanted it, I used some artist oil paints, thinned down, just add a little bit of sort of dirt and grime and so on to the tank. This was raw sienna. Just adding it sparingly because it's quite high contrast against the white. And then just blending it in, spreading it out with a little bit of thinner. So here's the final result. I'm quite happy with this. It's got a nice thick snow camouflage, which is what I wanted, and a little bit of grime. In the next video I'm going to build a diorama, and this is going to be a semi-abandoned tank with a little bit of snow piling up on it, just like the SMK prototype was when it was used in the Winter War against Finland in 1940. Okay, thank you for watching, and if you liked this video then please hit like and subscribe.